It's like,
Going slink.
oh, he's slinking.
Oh, he's slinking, dude. You better be ready to slink in this industry.
Gotta be ready to slink in this industry.
Fucking slink out of here, cause
He's doing a little slinking.
I can't wait till we get that thing that we talked about when we get the final setup. It's gonna be sick.
Oh, we get that 6-foot dildo?
Yeah. Yes. Glad you can read between the lines,
What
baby.
we're gonna get when we have our full setup is each episode we're gonna alternate. We're gonna get one of those remote-controlled, phone-controlled butt plugs, vibrators, and for one episode, Jordan's gonna wear it, and I'm gonna control it, and then we're gonna swap.
The same one.
The same one. It's just
Not
you
clean.
take it out and just, and then you. It's like if you dropped a piece of food on the floor. You.
So you spit on it and you rub it. You're like, ugh. And
Get
then
the brown off there.
And then there's gonna be a surprise episode where we both have it and you don't know.
And you don't know. You don't know who's the one who has it.
Oh shit, we're going to hell.
Buddy, if hell's real, I've long since secured my place there.
You have a fucking VIP seat.
Hello and welcome to the 116th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
That's me, baby.
Now, Jordan.
What?
We have
What?
a podcast, obviously.
Do
And
we?
that podcast goes on platforms. Where can people find the podcast?
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed linked below. You can also reach out to us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. You can also find us on Instagram where you can do the same. You can follow us, check out our shit there, and on TikTok where you can watch our shorts.
Yeah.
Speaking of contacting us, we actually have a question
Oh, hold on.
this time around.
Just a moment. I need to make sure our episode flows correctly, so you just shut your whore mouth for a minute. We're now now that we've properly done an intro so you know what you're watching, we're now going to jump back in time
To like 10 minutes ago.
to address a major controversy. So
prepare for a sad boy Jordan and sad boy Chris. Do you fucking mind?
Dude, the fucking thing has spread to me.
Roll film.
Jordan, I think it's time we address the controversy that we've started.
Are we really going to do this, though, on the air?
I think so.
All right, well.
We've annoyed and offended the elderly community. And this has been brought to my attention, and I just want to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry as well.
We're taking full fault
Full fault
for our actions.
Yeah.
And we're terribly sorry that you feel this way. What did we do?
So I think it was last episode or the episode before, Chris, you were like, who the fuck gets KFC chicken pot pies? Who does that? Who has ever done that? And then the elderly coworker at my job, or our job, basically was like, I do, bitch. I used to eat them all the time.
Bro was offended.
So Chris, what ramifications have fallen upon us?
Well, we've been damned to the hell of trying a KFC pot pie. On my way home, this is a Friday, by the way. On my way home, I grabbed 2 of them, one for each of us. So here we have them.
Here's the
pot pie. Here's a spork for you, Jordan.
Thank you.
So, I worked at KFC. I think I said this in the episode. I worked at KFC and was unsure. I did not even see these being sold. So,
It smells okay.
yeah, it looks good. It looks alright.
Yeah, it's very consistent actually. They look at them. They look like twins, dude.
I mean,
yours a
they
little
probably
burnt.
came out the same factory, so.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we dig in.
I
We are
guess
eating a
so.
pot pie.
Yeah.
You going for the center? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm going dead center here.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jordan.
yeah.
This is exactly what I expected it to be.
Just about. Now I do have one question first that will veer my opinion. What is the MSRP on one of these pot pies?
Oh fuck, man. I don't remember. I think it was like $6.99. Let me look it up. Let me double check, and I'll get back with you. $6.49. So cut out the 14 minutes it took me to pull that up.
Yeah.
It seems, honestly, mobile websites barely function.
They do. They do.
Especially lately. I've had multiple incidents where I've been trying to use a mobile website, and it's fucking been awful. Yeah. That's beside the point.
Said,
I digress.
What do you think? It's $6.49.
$6.49? I'm not mad at it.
I mean, like, what do you get at McDonald's for $6.49? Like, how many cheeseburgers does that get you? Like 3?
We talking...
Like just a single ass cheeseburger.
Oh, I know a double cheeseburger, because in my order I always get a double cheeseburger, at least one, right? And that's $2.29.
Okay, so we'll just say for simplicity's sake, you get 3 cheeseburgers.
3 double cheeseburgers.
Would you rather have that or this? That's a tough one.
I'd probably have the cheeseburgers, but if it was like
more convenient to go to KFC.
Well, yeah. And if it was like 30 degrees and I was coming home in 30-degree weather and I came home to this, I would not be upset.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I'd say it's maybe a little better than I thought. Maybe. Our coworker...
I had a specific taste in my brain.
And this was it?
In my mind's tongue, and that's what this was.
Your mind's tongue?
Well, you say, like, oh, I had this in my mind's eye, but I can't see a taste. So I had my mind's tongue, and this is what it tasted like.
Man. So our coworker, his argument to it was like, you get a microwave one at a grocery store, and this is better. And indisputably, that is true.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, that's undeniable fact. But for the price...
It's better if you're microwaving the microwavable one. But if you're putting the microwavable one in the oven, which normally frozen food going into the oven is something I wouldn't want to waste my time with. But with a chicken pot pie, if you're getting a chicken pot pie frozen one and you're putting it in the oven, it's a similar quality to that, I think.
I would say it's not far off, no, for sure. So verdict stands. I do apologize for our crimes. Mm-hmm. And he was right. I'm not mad about it.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not disappointed.
So, I still think he has hip problems. No, we don't.
Yeah, you're fucking old. That's not nice. He's not even that old.
He's not. What's crazy is he's like self-conscious about his age.
Oh.
Fucking grandpa.
Anyway,
back to the show.
Yeah, we're gonna finish eating and then the rest of the show will commence.
Now we wait.
Now we just wait. We're putting it in here manually. This is an actual film camera we have. All right. Now you can go.
So, what I was gonna say, Christopher,
Jordan Afur.
Fucking, we got a question. We got it via Instagram.
Oh, shout out.
Actually, what's funny is I'm on the wrong Instagram. That's why I was like, where the fuck did it go? I was like, I think it got erased.
We got erased. I was going to say something horrible to you.
Luckily, I knew what it was about, but I want their wording. So let me skim this for revealing details. So this person's name is such and such. This is his address. So we received a question from a viewer named John. He said, hey guys, I've been listening to your podcast during my commutes, and I'm glad that you're both doing well. I don't know if you guys are open to requests, but if you are, I would love to hear if you've played The Forest and your thoughts on survival games as a whole, specifically games like The Forest, Green Hell, Ark, Minecraft, etc. Okay. And best of luck to you both. First of all, I don't mean any harm by this. If we're open to requests, if you were actually listening, you'd hear where I beg you for questions at the beginning of every fucking episode,
honestly,
John.
You just gotta listen to the show, man.
He's a liar. Let's get him.
You're a lion, dog face, pony soldier.
But no, thank you for the question. That's a good one. Really good one.
No, it actually is a good question. Of the few we've received, it's I would say probably a better one.
Yeah, and I don't think we've actually really gone in detail about that. So
I want to talk about this. I fucking love survival crafting games. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everyone else, at least in my friend group, seems to not like them.
Yeah, most people we know don't.
Here's the thing. Minecraft is a given. Everyone likes Minecraft.
Yeah.
I feel like there's...
Non-gamers like Minecraft.
I feel like there's very few people who don't like Minecraft.
Letsy actually doesn't.
Okay. I
read it.
rescind what I just said. I take that back.
Women don't like
Everyone, except Jordan's girlfriend, likes Minecraft. Okay, I like Minecraft. I grew up playing Minecraft.
Hell yeah.
My nephews play Minecraft.
Dude.
So it's like, it's a crazy like cross-generational thing.
Honestly, some of my best memories are my brother tweaking off drugs playing Minecraft, dude.
Damn, that's crazy.
Telling me how he was playing survival and he was going to build this crazy mansion and he never did.
Damn, that sucks.
As soon as the drugs wore off, he
Maybe
crashed.
that's what he was seeing. So Minecraft's a given, but I enjoyed the shit out of The Forest.
Forest was fucking great.
The Forest is a fantastic game. I proposed that we played it.
We should. We still should.
The other day at work, I was talking to the boys, and I said, we should play The Forest. And fuck no, fuck The Forest. What did The Forest do to you?
Fuck, man.
The Forest, I love the shit out of The Forest. Really big on 7 Days to Die. I'm a huge 7 Days fan.
Yeah.
Man, that game should not be fun.
No, it shouldn't.
It should not be as fun as it is. But here's the thing that I dislike about 7 Days. I'm going to go on a little tangent here because I have like 200 hours in 7 Days. So, the developer, this game has been in development for now like 10 fucking years. And the developer, the reason it's been in development for so long is an update will come out. People will find an alternative way to play the game. Like, oh, if you put your base underground, the zombies can't get at your base. If you do this, if you use these blocks in this way, zombies won't be able to walk across them and they'll just fall, and it's easier to pick them off that way. Do this, and that, right? And every time, the developer, he's like, no, you can't play the game that way, no! You're playing the game wrong. And he changes it.
Yeah.
And he changes it. So what he did was the meta for like the first 8 years the game existed was to dig underground and have an underground base. Or at least have most of your storage and important shit underground. Mm-hmm. And the zombies couldn't get through. And then in the update after that, he gave them auger arms, basically. So they'll just punch downwards, and they'll dig right into your base at an alarming rate. Yeah. And then people were tricking the AI in certain ways, and he changed a lot of that and made it, like, so that you couldn't use specific exploits. Mm-hmm. Which is like, bro, it's a single-player game, okay? I understand this is probably your vision, your dream.
Right.
Call it at this point, bro.
It's your fucking magnum opus.
You know how much fucking content you could have added in the time you were stopping players from having fun? You could have just added content in that time. Moving on. As a whole, survival games, I've encountered very few that I dislike.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Ark enjoyer. I don't really like Ark. I never got into Rust. But like other than that, like I like most of them. Huge Subnautica fan. That game was fucking great.
You did like that. You didn't like the Frozen whatever DLC.
No, I never finished it. A
lot of people didn't like it for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know. I never played the whole thing. That's the thing. I played. There's like, because it's way more story driven than Subnautica, but Below Zero is like, it has a dedicated progress path. Not that the original game doesn't, but
it's more defined.
It's got like cutscenes and voice acting and all this, and it's just way more of a game than the original one. And I got to like the first major event that happens, and then I stopped playing because I got either distracted by something else or
rammed in the ass by school.
Probably not, because up until this point, I feel like up until this point, the ramming has been fairly light.
Yeah, it's been a little poke here.
And then I got this year, and I'm just getting constantly
fucked.
Just slammed.
That's a topic for a different subject. Topic for a different story.
No rubber, no lube.
Actually, they put fucking barbed wire.
Put fucking sandpaper on it.
Yeah.
Moving on. What are your thoughts?
So kind of taking it from the top, and then I have a question for you, actually. For me, The Forest, that's a big W. I like that game. It gets a little fucking zany at the end. I don't know if you ever beat it or watched it.
Yeah, no, I've played through the end. And
that's a little weird.
That's the part I like the most about the game.
Is it? Yeah.
Because it reveals, like, what's going on.
Yeah.
And you can play the game in a way of, like, oh, who's the real monster here?
Yeah.
Because you can become a demon in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can, for reference, if no one has any experience with The Forest, you are on a plane, it crashes on a remote island. Your son gets taken by, like, mutants or cannibals or whatever. And you now have to survive, and you have to figure out what's going on and how to get out of there and get your son back, right? And in the process of this, you become just a fucking force to be reckoned with. You can just chop cannibals up.
Yeah.
You can chop these mutants up. I don't think they're all cannibalistic necessarily.
Some of them are just mutants, yeah.
You can chop them up. You can chop their limbs off and eat them. And
you become the cannibal.
There's very little consequence for this, by the way, for eating the mutants.
Yeah.
And you can just become a force to be reckoned with these people, where you can put effigies out that contains body parts of the mutants,
to scare them off.
They'll look at the effigies and they'll grieve at the effigies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dealing with sapient beings here. Like, these are like us. And then at the end you figure out what the mystery is. Yeah. And that's the part I quite like, actually.
Yeah, I always was a little, not turned off per se, but a little like, meh, about the whole like zany fucking plot that it has. But overall, it's a good survival game, really fun. It's really good in VR. I don't know if you ever tried it in VR. It's fucking terrifying at night, dude.
I'm sure. But, and the caves probably are bad.
Oh, yeah. Really good game, though. Fun for co-op as well. Ark, never was a big fan of. I played it a little bit. I'll kind of get into why. It'll all tie in at the end of this, I promise. But Ark was, it was okay. It was cool to be like, oh, dinosaur, and then...
Well, that was the thing with Ark with me. I was like, oh, you go play with the dinosaur.
Yeah.
And I was like, my inner 5-year-old was
and then
like,
the dinosaurs
holy
beat your
shit.
ass. And you're like, what the fuck?
And then you, like, look at a fucking bird the wrong way, and it pecks you to death 14 times. And apparently its entire extended bloodline is pissed off, too.
Yeah.
Because they'll just randomly aggro on you and destroy your house and destroy what little progress you've made.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like about the game.
So I guess I'll spoil the surprise now. What I was going to say is I really don't like PvP survival games. And Ark was the big one because I stuck with it. I stuck with it for like a week. I built this little fucking shack, dude. I was like, this is sick. I'm getting there. And this one guy rolled up on me with a fucking dinosaur he was riding and destroyed everything.
Yeah, no, that's...
And I just never played it
That's
again.
a big one for me. If it's not a good experience alone, it's not worth my time.
Yeah. So Ark was never super crazy for me. I never tried Rust. I watched YouTubers play it, and it's cool to watch, in my opinion. It's one of those, like, funny stream, games. When they do, like, a private server with a bunch of streamers and stuff. It's usually pretty cool. What was the other one you had said? 7 Days to Die, I played a little bit when I found out that Telltale was publishing it. That was around the time of The Walking Dead. I was like, yo, let's fucking go, more zombies. And it wasn't great back then. And then I played it a couple years later, and I was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. It didn't have a lot for me, but for me, my favorite kind of survival game, like dedicated survival game, isn't totally up my alley. My favorite type is when the survival mechanics are implemented into a regular game really well. Not many examples of it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is, like, usually when that's implemented, it's fucking irritating.
Yeah.
You know what game did that horribly?
You gonna say Skyrim?
No, I'm gonna say Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I didn't eat a cheeseburger, I'm fucking dying.
That game had survival elements.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And it was fucking annoying. It was obnoxious.
That whole game is micromanaging.
And that entire game is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
The combat fucking sucks.
The camera sucks.
Camera sucks.
The movement
you
sucks.
Can't even fucking fast travel without getting ambushed by 37 guys who are shoving a mace up your ass. So it's ridiculous. In conclusion, that game fucking sucks. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was.
They didn't do it well.
Continuing on. Moving on.
But yeah, so 7 Days to Die was pretty cool. One of the ones I played with my brother that was a really good time, but I believe the developers like went bankrupt or something and didn't support it, was Savage Lands. It was like a medieval survival game. That one was really cool for a little bit. dedicated survival games, in my opinion, the only two ways I like them is if it's a good co-op experience and it's just survival, like The Forest, which then got a story that kind of backed it up. But initially was just like two fucking dudes surviving. Or if it's a game, like I said, that has like a relatively linear story, or even I guess even an open-ended story, but then implements survival mechanics really well. I'm not a fan of just like straight up survival, other than Minecraft, where it's like there's nothing to do. They did add like the end, the nether, and all that, but originally like Minecraft's just like you just exist.
I mean,
that's the only one I've liked.
7 Days is like that.
That's why, yeah. That's
granted,
why
there is like. There's a lot more to the game now. Mm-hmm. At least, I don't know if they've updated since I last played, probably. But when I last played, they have, like... They really emphasized, like, the trading system and, like, putting an economy in the game where you use the dumb little tokens to buy things. Right. And you do, like, treasure hunts, and the trader gives you different quests, and different quests lead you to different places, and the different places have better things. Mm-hmm. So... You know, it all kind of ties together. Yeah. And they added a lot of shit that was annoying that wasn't in it before. You can craft like rudimentary weapons now, like not weapons. I shouldn't say that. Guns. You can craft rudimentary guns, like pipe revolvers and pipe pistols and things, and rifles and pipe machine guns and shit. And the scavenging part comes with ammo. So let me find ammo. And they really changed the skill system a lot, so it's much more like technical, I guess, if you want to say that.
Right.
Of like you really have to plan out your character. You have to spec your character the right way to get certain things in a certain order, depending on how you want to progress.
Yeah. So I feel like for me, my favorite ever survival game, obviously excluding Minecraft, that's just a no-brainer, is State of Decay 1 and 2. Specifically the second one, but I'll put them together because they're very much the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But State of Decay as a franchise is like probably my prime example of a survival game. It's not totally survival up the ass. Like, you're not eating food physically. You're not managing your fucking temperature. But, like, you're surviving, zombie rage. You're surviving as a community. You're building up defenses. You're fighting other enclaves, and you're doing a little bit of questing in between. I wish it had a little more of a story, but it's other than like that, it's probably my favorite survival game. So if you haven't played it, to John, the person who asked the question, or anyone else listening, give it a shot. It's on Steam now too, so you get that 2-hour refund window anyway. So give it a check out. Check it out. It's a fucking awesome game, and the devs are awesome too.
What I think would be really neat would be. Like Skyrim or Fallout 4 or other Fallouts, whatever. They have a survival mode where it's like a separate difficulty where
it's insane.
It's harder. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to drink
Wounds
regularly.
Have to actually stay and heal.
Yeah. I think if they applied that concept, maybe to a lesser degree, I don't know. If they applied that concept to Red Dead 2,
I was just going to say
I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 already has some decent survival stuff, but not to that degree. Well, if you look
it's certainly there.
If you look for it. If you just go the ebb and flow of the game, there's really no punishment for anything. But if you specifically set out to, like, never fast travel, be like a woodland guy who's living off the fucking rough, you can play it in that way. It's not incredible, but I've said that. I think we've talked about that before. That would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe there's a mod for it.
I bet there is, but I think that's all I got on that. I did have a follow-up question for you, Chris. Do you feel like survival games are oversaturated, like in terms of how many different fucking survival games there are with minimal disparity between them?
In terms of 2022, not really, because all the good ones
have kind of
float to the top.
Yeah.
Where you have your good ones, you have ones that look not so promising on release, and then over the course of development start looking a lot better. Chief example of this being Raft.
Yeah. I forgot about that game. That game's awesome, actually.
I played like a little bit of Raft. I haven't played in a long time. I installed it, but I don't have time to play video games anymore. So, Raft, when it first came out, I was like, this looks like fucking garbage.
Yeah. I'm just sitting on a piece of wood.
This looks so unfun. But they added a bunch of shit to it, so it looks a lot more interesting now.
newest one that just hit 1.0, Grounded. That's like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids game.
Yeah.
That just hit 1.0, and people are going fucking crazy for how good it is. So
it's good?
Apparently. I mean, everyone on fucking my YouTube feed is like, this game is fucking awesome.
Is it co-op? We should play it.
It's 4-player co-op.
We should play it.
Yeah. It's a Microsoft game, so it'd be...
Oh, is it on Game Pass then?
Probably. Yeah, it should be. It's made by Microsoft.
So even better then. Yeah, I feel like most of them, the good ones, kind of float to the top, because I know there's, in general, a lot of fucking garbage that gets made. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of trash.
Just go on Steam and go to new.
Go to new and trending, adult filter off, like content filter off.
Yeah.
You will see a list. 75% of that list is going to be porn games. Porn games, white supremacist games.
A lot of like weird Hitler games, like where it's
that's what I'm tying that in. White supremacist games or like Nazi games, garbage, and then the
Baby
other
doll
like
sim.
20% is going to be okay games, and then 5%, the remaining 5%, are going to be decent games that are worth buying.
Yeah, all right, worth looking into for sure.
Worth looking at least.
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind. Because a lot of garbage in general gets made. But, obviously, only the good stuff kind of floats to the top. And, especially with indie games. Which is the advertisement is very much like word of mouth in a lot of cases.
It's like, hey, did you check out this game?
In a less traditional sense than it used to mean, but like, this person the developer gave a key to like IGP and he played it and made a video on it, and that looks cool, and now it's in front of 1 million eyes.
Yeah.
So,
That's how I feel about Rollerdrome. I really want to try that out in the Steam Deck. It's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater meets kind of like Super Hot in a way, but it's third person, so you're doing like backflips off ramps in slow-mo shooting people, and it's got like a cel-shaded look to it. It's pretty sick, yeah.
What I want to see is a Skate 3 remaster.
Oh my god, don't even get me started about Skate, dude.
Skate 3 was kind of a banger.
I'm just more concerned that the new Skate game that was being made, Skate 4, so to speak, turned free to play.
Damn.
So, but I think that's all I got on the topic of survival games. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Well, thank you, John, for the question. Sincerely do appreciate it. And keep them coming. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, I think there's one other big thing that happened in my life that I think you would agree we should bring up.
Actually, I knew we had a question, but I didn't know it was going to go this much of a deep dive. I was going to say in the intro that I'm not the interesting one. Jordan's actually been interesting these last couple of weeks. So what do you got for us?
So I did a thing. I don't even remember already like what kind of spurred it on, but like I got the idea. I guess this is probably what did it. I was talking to our boss again about a Civic Si, and I like got it in my head, and I almost convinced myself, Chris. I almost went and got a 2022 Civic Si. Then I changed my mind a little, and I pulled it back. I was like, let me get a 2015. Let me do that.
Bro was like at the dealership, like
dude. I was putting in an order on Honda's website, like I was doing some crazy shit. And I was like getting insurance quotes. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What's happening here? I've never even driven manual for long term. What the fuck is going on?
That's when I got involved in the conversation, like very briefly, I was like, you need to make sure that you like this first.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I daily drive, like my only car at the moment is my Fiesta ST, which is 6-speed manual. And daily driving that wasn't as much of a transition for me because I had basically daily driven manual before.
Yeah, right before.
Interspersing with my accent. I knew that it was something that was going to be fine for me, but I can see why people would not want to do it. I'm not one of these, like, I might make jokes, but it's never like a sincere thought of like, you should drive manual. Manual's better. It's like, I can see why 90% of people buy automatics. Like, I can see why, but, to that end, if you enjoy it, just get a manual.
Yeah. So I drove the Giraffe Man's Miata a couple times, and I was like, sure. I mean, I went up his cul-de-sac a few times, and like, I wanted to ask him to let me drive it more, but like, it's really awkward to approach someone and be like, hey, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Let me take your car.
It's a very similar sentiment I had with the Miata, where I was like, man, am I gonna fit in a Miata? Because I was thinking, like, if I want a little sports car, a little coupe, a Miata is a fucking great choice.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm kind of fat and tall, though. Can I fit in a Miata? I'm like, well, Draft Man's like about my height, so, you know, he fits, but he's a much smaller guy. He's a skinnier guy.
Skinnier, yeah. A lot skinnier.
You know, so I'm well, thanks, Jordan.
I was waiting. I was waiting. I realized as I said it, I was like, oh man, I kind of just like fucking reamed it in there, baby.
So I asked him. It was such a weird like interaction. It was very much like a strange interaction. I was like, so you have your Miata today. Can I like just sit in it and maybe drive it? And he's like, yeah, dude, I really don't care. I was like,
could I like maybe you know, maybe like if you don't, maybe there was no problem.
Maybe
like,
just like a little like. Just like if I could sit in the Miata a little bit.
He just fucking punches you in the face. He just lays you out.
I was like, yeah, I know some people are weird about their cars. I don't know. Is it fine? He's like, I really don't care. Yeah. So I got out and I'm in the Miata. We're talking. I get in, and immediately I'm like, yeah, this is no shot. This is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I was able to get in. I had my big fucking honking boots on. So I got the Timbs on. I took them off, and I got raw bare dogs on the feet on the pedals. And there was more room
than you thought.
But it wasn't a pleasant amount of room.
Yeah.
And my eye line was here at the windshield. So if I was... Well, what a lot of tall guys do is they get the Miata and the top goes down and never comes back up.
Or they do what Giraffe Man calls a foamectomy, and they cut the foam out of the seat to sit lower.
Oh, the thing he keeps saying that he's going to do and never does?
Yeah.
So what I could do is I could sit up straight and look over the windshield. And that's how I would have to
and then if you
drive
roll
the vehicle.
Thing.
And if I roll the car, my head is coming clean off my shoulders.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on. You were telling a story.
Yeah. So I wanted to drive his Miata, but it's a really tough thing to tell someone like, hey, I'm gonna fuck this up a lot. I'm gonna stall it. I'm gonna make the clutch slip. Like I'm gonna do a bunch of shit wrong, but give me your car. So yeah. I never really pushed him. You know, he was nice enough to even let me drive it in the first place, which is something I frankly probably wouldn't do with a car that was my only car.
It is crazy that like how I given his background as a mechanic, I feel like he would be more neurotic about his cars, but he's like, fuck, I don't care. If you break it, we can fix it. That's not that big of a deal.
Pretty much. That's kind of where he was at.
Yeah.
You know, and I made sure he was aware that, like, if I destroyed the transmission, I was going to pay for it, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm driving. He was probably like, please break it. Please break it.
Please break it. I need a new clutch, man.
So, anyway, I drove his Miata. I was like, yeah, this is cool, but I'm not getting a real feel for it. So, I put out the feelers on Facebook Marketplace. I'm just looking around. And I started seeing, like, Mazda 3s, and I got that stuck in my head. And I have a bad habit of just getting latched onto one idea and sticking with it. It's how
Hyperfixations, man.
Yeah, it's how I almost walked off with a fucking 2022 Civic Si, not even knowing if I could afford it.
Imagine if you bought that and then you get it and you're like, I fucking hate driving this.
So I had it. I was fixated Mazda 3. I'm texting Giraffe Man. I'm like, hey, dude, this Mazda 3, it's only an hour away. I'll drive you. You test drive it. You tell me if it's good, and then we buy it if it is, or we leave if it's not. He goes, all right, that's all fine, but I'm gone for a week. So I messaged the guy. I'm like, hey, what about next week? Guy basically tells me to fuck myself. He's like, I'm not holding it for you. I'm like, okay, didn't ask that. But anyway, I move on to the next thing. I find another Mazda 3.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and a half away. The Giraffe Man's still gone. So I ask our boss. Our boss is like, all right, my wife won't be happy, but I'll go with you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I get this idea. Let's see, kind of pulls me back in. She almost hits me with like the Duncan, like, you're done. You're done with the Duncan. Dude.
She's here fucking, she pulls the reins on
She
you.
hits me with the...
Which, in fairness, is a good thing to have.
And it
someone
worked
to
out.
Just, let's,
dude,
fucking reel it in for a minute here.
Dude, she I went home that night, like the night that our boss said he might be able to go Wednesday. I was like, so me and our boss, we're going Wednesday. We're looking at this Mazda 3. It's only $2,000. It's got this, it's got that, it's got that. We're going to do this. She was just like, why do you want that? Why do you need that? And I'm like,
she's keeping you in check.
I'm like, well, I can learn to drive stick. She goes, but why? I was like, in case I get a Civic Si. She was like, but you have a perfectly fine Cobalt.
And then you start thinking about it more, and you're like, yeah, maybe that is a fucking stupid idea.
And immediately I was like, and I slowly came back down and I went. I texted our boss, and I literally have the message somewhere. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to hold off till the spring. Well, needless to say, a week after that didn't happen. I didn't hold off for the spring because...
He bought a 2022 Civic Si. No, he didn't.
I sold Letsy off.
I sold the woman. I got the car. Life is good.
And I can't even drive it. No, my uncle. So I put the feelers out. Our boss said to me, he said, listen, if you're this apt about a manual, let me tell you an inside baseball trick. Something I've done every single time I've wanted a cheap beater. Put it in your family. Ask them. So I said to my dad, passively, I said, hey, do you know anyone who's selling a manual? He goes, I don't know. I'll fucking keep an eye out. 2 days later, hey, your uncle just, like, has this car. He's selling for $700 that he just wants to get rid of. It's a 5-speed. I'm like, oh, what kind of car? It's a 2007 Toyota Yaris. It's got 235,000 miles. He drives it every single day, 40 miles. And I'm like...
that's a Toyota reliability,
I was like, Toyota... $700. Let me at least check it out. I'd be dumb not to, right? Has some damage to it from where it got hit. I was able to fix like the door to make it open. All good. Test drove it. I drove it myself. I was like, yeah, it's a car and it's a manual and it does things. I moved the shifter and it does things. Like, this is perfect. So I bought it. Bought it for $700. Got it registered. Got it insured. And I've been driving it, and it's good. I did talk to Draftman a little bit to ask him some questions because his Miata is direct. I don't know what you're going to call it, but the shifter's directly attached to the transmission, and this new car is through linkages.
Well, here's the thing. Miata, obviously, rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
The transmission's here, and the shifter is just a stick coming out of the transmission when rear-wheel drive. So it's like, it's very much, the way he described it is everything in this car is an event.
Yeah.
Like, you have to... You
fucking thunk it into gear.
In the case of the Yaris, front-wheel drive, my Fiesta same way. It's got a hook with, I think my Fiesta's a cable. It's like a very thick kind of cable that runs down to the transmission, and then you can kind of do it from there. So it's a different feel. It's not as direct. Like the F-150 is like that, where it's directly just a stick on the floor into the transmission.
Yeah.
And it's like... You're gonna break your fucking arm trying to get it into gear.
So with the Yaris, it's linkages and it's very sloppy. Like getting it into first,
I can imagine. It's
getting into first,
down.
I'm like, ugh. And then everything else is nice and smooth. But first, it's just like, ugh, and I'm trying to fucking get it in. And drives fine. I've been dailing it. I've made a fucking fool of myself a couple times, including today in front of Chris.
Yeah,
first time stalling it out on a
I
fucking.
Asked them. Because I haven't seen Jordan all week. By the way. I saw him for the first time this morning.
Which is Friday, by the way. So it's the end of the week.
Yeah. So I didn't see Jordan at all. So he appears.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, did you buy that car? I goes, yeah.
I pull out the key. I'm like, I drove it here.
And I go, oh shit. We gotta go check it out. Later on in the day, end of the day, we all are headed out of the building, and I'm checking it out, and. It's certainly a vehicle.
Keep in mind, I've never had what happened happen. Yet.
Yeah, that's what they all say. So he gets in, and he starts it, and I want to see you pull off. I want to see. There's a lot of pressure here. I want to see you pull this off. And he goes, okay. He puts it in reverse. Immediately stalls.
Immediately.
Like, the comedic timing was great.
So what had happened was I was trying to be a little ballsy,
and
right?
you were fucking with the brake. I don't know what you were doing.
No, so I was trying to be a little ballsy. So my current strategy, what I was told to do by my dad, by Giraffe Man, our boss, to learn how to do it, is use the e-brake to stop you from rolling before you do your takeoff. So I do that on hills, and I haven't really stalled on a hill yet, besides like a couple times, like twice on one hill that's really steep. So I didn't realize where I was parked was slightly sloped down.
Yeah.
That's why if you saw, after I stalled, I took my foot off the brake and it rolled, and I went, oh, and then I fucked with the brake. I put the brake on, because what happened was I thought I was on flat ground, because I always park on a flat spot, and I just let out the clutch and I go. So this one time Chris is watching, I let off the clutch, didn't even budge. It just went, shut off.
Yeah.
Didn't even make a sound or do anything. So I put the parking brake on, I let the clutch out, I gave it gas, put the parking brake down, and I took off.
Well,
fuck.
The way I learned, okay, I heard the trick with the handbrake and you can do all that. The way I learned is like, you know what? A hill is a hill. I'm a man. Let's just do it this way. And I
just a Fiesta with a fucking hill start assist.
I don't have hill start assist enabled because the few times I've stalled that car, most of them were hill start assist's fault. Because I'm used to it rolling.
Yeah.
And I use that as a reference for clutch engagement. So when I learned to drive my my Golf, which incidentally, by the way, a little coincidence here, also had 235,000 miles when I bought it.
Both hatchbacks, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. The Yaris is a hatchback.
When I learned that, I came up to a hill, and I think it's a bit of I think I had a bit of practice just intrinsically because the end of my driveway slopes up.
Yep.
So it gives me some practice that way.
A little bit.
But doing hill starts, I never did the e-brake thing.
You just full sent it.
I would just send it and, use the clutch to compensate, and I haven't really had a whole ton of trouble with hill starts since. So, kind of a trial by fire sort of thing.
Yeah. So the first day, I didn't think I told you this story because you didn't know until today that I even owned the car. First day I had it, still registered in my uncle's name. I'm like, I'm taking this shit around the city. Let's fucking
for
go.
sure.
I take it for a spin. I don't think I stalled once. I'm just kind of going around the city, and I get to this hill, right? And the guy comes up behind me in a Volkswagen, and I'm like, this is before the whole parking brake thing.
This is going to be bad.
I'm looking. I'm like, oh, he's giving me some space. Cool. I have the brake in. I put the clutch in. I go to first. I'm watching the light. It turns green. I double check the mirror, and he sees it's green. He's like, yo, let me just smooch this dude's asshole. I'm like, oh, no, this isn't good. So I start to let out the clutch. I let off the...
Let me smooch this dude's asshole.
I let off the clutch, and I'm like, all right, I feel it starting to grab. I take my foot off the brake. I start rolling. I'm like, oh, no, I'm rolling faster than I thought. Dude, I went pedal to the metal, clutch out. I spun both wheels loose in first gear and whipped around this corner going, the whole way through, dude.
That's also a thing that I found is the more you think about your start, the worse it's going to be.
I think that's what happened with me reversing, too.
The more you think about it, the worse it's going to be. That every time I have thought about how I'm starting, it's been a terrible start.
Yeah. Which I think was part of my problem learning on the Giraffe Man's Miata, was because I wanted to do it right, because I'm like, I really don't want to break his car. So I was really focused on starting, and I kept fucking it up. I do better in the Yaris now, when I just don't pay attention. I'm just like, yep, doing my thing.
Well, because that was the thing that, because for some reason, when I first ever drove a manual, there's a guy I worked with. He had kind of a perfect case here. He had a Subaru Impreza, and the engine was knocking really bad. So he was going to get a new car anyway. So he's like, it's a 5-speed if you wanted to learn. I'm like, okay, bet. So one day, after work, we get in the car, and he's like, just giving me general lessons. And for some reason, I had it in my head that the clutch was like a binary thing.
On and off, yeah.
Yeah, like, you have to very much it's a percentage thing, I suppose.
It's like your brakes. You don't just hit the brake and it stops. It's
yeah,
like
you don't just
and
it's you go. It's with but that's how I thought it worked. So what I was trying to do was I would give it a little throttle, and then I would just go. I was like, why is it not going? Why is it not working? What am I doing wrong? And he's like, you gotta let it out slow. I'm like, okay. And I let it out slow. It starts to grab, and I just dumped it.
Yeah.
After that, I'm like, oh, it's not going. It's not working. And I don't think it was explained to me properly until I had my Golf and my dad showed me.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I've been watching you try to do this. He gets in the driver's seat. He goes, watch my feet. And he did it.
And you're like,
and I was like, and the whole thing clicked. I'm like, man, I'm a fucking moron. I'm a fucking idiot.
So I had the audacity. My dad's close to the same age as yours. My dad's turning 61. Your dad's what, like 64? 65?
61.
Oh, they're the same age then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or probably a couple months or whatever. But my dad's turning 61 next month, and I immediately I'm test driving the Yaris, and I took it for a spin. But he knows better as to the feel of a manual than I do. So I said to him hey, you want to take it for a lap with me and see what you think? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, I looked at him. I'm like, you sure you remember how to do this, right? Dude went challenge accepted. Fucking pop started it using the clutch.
What a demon.
Took off. Whipped us
demon.
around this cul-de-sac, just being like, banging through gears, dude. Fucking, I'm just like, he goes, this is how you pop start a clutch. Pops it and just goes, dude. Just takes off.
What a fucking animal.
And just starts flying around the fucking cul-de-sac. I was just sitting there like, whatever, dude.
My dad, it was the opposite with my dad. When we bought my Golf, I had full faith in him. So I was like,
He's got this. He's the guy.
You're going to test drive this because I can't drive this. So you're going to do it. Tell me if it's good. And if it's good, we'll buy it. Yeah.
Anyway. The same situation, yeah.
So he gets in. He's like, the owner of the car is in the car with us, obviously. So, we don't just take off with it.
Yeah.
And and my dad, I think she was in the back seat. My dad turns to her and goes, I haven't done this in 30 years. So, if it goes a little wrong, that's why. And
I promise I know what I'm doing.
He backs up and he drives pretty good. And I think he messed up once. He's like, oh, been a while.
That's so funny.
Like I said, I think I've brought this up before. I kind of feel bad for the way we just absolutely mangled that car. Because that woman took very good care of that car. She loved that car.
In hindsight, I should have just bought it off you. That's what I should have done.
For real. So, it was the opposite with me. It was like, I have full faith in this guy. And
he blunders it.
I mean,
he didn't do that bad.
Yeah, he delivered. So, he was... from what he explained to me, he was self-taught. He didn't have anyone teach him.
Yeah, that's how Giraffe Man was.
He was just like, well, I got a car, and it was a 5-speed, or it might have been old enough to be a 4-speed. I bought it, and I was having a lot of trouble taking off. For the first 2 months I had it, I was trying to take off in 3rd gear the whole time, because I thought it was first.
Dude,
that makes a lot of sense.
My mom, she was telling me when I got the R, she was like, you want to know how I learned to drive manual? I thought it was going to be some basic story. Oh, my dad took me out and taught me. She goes, well, my mom went into labor. My dad had a heart attack. So I got in their car, and I was just like, I saw him do it a couple times. She was like, cool. And then she went on the fucking highway.
It's like the fucking, the scene in SpongeBob in the pizza episode, where it's like, put the car in reverse, SpongeBob, and he's looking and it's all in Chinese. Yeah. I was like that. Just, oh no. You start sweating, but Grace under pressure, I suppose.
Just let's see. She's like 3, 4, 1, 4, 7. Oh my god.
Grace under pressure. But trial by fire, in a almost literal sense.
But I think that's all we got, because we have that bit we cut in. We're at 40 minutes already.
Oh yeah, I think that's it. But point being, last point, you gotta let me drive it at some point.
Yeah, once I'm a little better with it in terms of taking it on the highway and shit, I'll bring it here at some point. I'm not totally ready.
No, that's fair.
I still stall it too much.
That's fair.
Yeah, what I got to do is, I've been meaning to all week, but things just keep happening. I meant to tell this story, but maybe I'll save it for next one about what happened, why I'm daily in the Yaris.
Yeah, we'll...
Part 2 will be in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. But I'll bring it here once I'm better. I need to take it by work and try to find some hills to fuck around with and figure it out. Won't be hard in that godforsaken city, dude.
Yeah.
Hill after hill. But Chris, is that it? That's all we got.
I guess so.
So, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed, all linked below. There's also the questionnaire. You can... Oh my god, I just fucking said questionnaire. We don't have a fucking questionnaire. You can send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats to synapsemisfire@pm.me. And you can reach us Instagram, TikTok, watch our shorts, reach out to us there. And thanks again, John, for the question.
Yeah.
Till next time, suck my ass. Smooch my anus.
The district manager, she sat me down and she talked to me for legitimately like an hour and a half about the Colonel.
Okay.
All about Colonel Sanders.
Is there like a new Colonel? I know the original's dead, but is there like a new guy who's the face of the company?
No, they just rotate different actors to play the Colonel. But Colonel Sanders, interesting fellow. He was in World War One, something like that. I forget. He was born in the late 1800s, 1890 or something. Mm-hmm. Fought in the war, was a colonel, whatever, and then he made his money going to different places, selling them chicken, and he would like sell out his chicken recipe to different places and license it, and he would just take a portion of the profits, and that's how he made his money. And then he had his own chicken restaurant, and then the highways were built, and they went around his chicken restaurant, and it failed, and then the colonel wanted to kill himself. And he decided not to and started KFC.
Highway went around his business, so like no customers could get there.
Well, they could. It was just really inconvenient.
He was like, I'm gonna fucking blow my head off, dude.
Well, yeah, it was a thing, and I remember, maybe I'm remembering it different than it actually happened, but this manager was like,
he's a hero.
Started to get a little emotional about the colonel. So like, well, he was at a point in his life where he was deciding whether or not he wanted to live or not. Like, okay. I wish the bastard killed himself. I wouldn't be here right now.
You're like, she's like, much the same like you will in 3 months. Working here in 3 months, you'll be in the same shoes as the Colonel. It's called the Colonel's Walk. So fucking funny.
The Colonel's cock.